Fire Sword, Chapter 49. The Price of Victory. You're gonna pay for everything you've taken, Kirito hissed as he faced off against Grima, the fell dragon in his right hand, the exalted in his left. From my son, from Lucina's friends from this world, and all the other times, you're gonna pay. Around them, Yui and Asuna flitted in the corners of their visions, bursts of magic and stabs from Asuna's sword keeping the Risen at bay so that Kirito could confront his son's killer. Ha! Grima bellowed as he aimed his palm at the Black Swordsman. What are the promises of a mortal to a god? What are the threats of a god to a non-believer? Kirito shot back. Yeah! He blasted forward at top speed, nothing more than a dark blur to those that caught a glimpse of him. Grima rolled his eyes as he raised a hand, causing dark spikes to erupt between him and the Spriggan warrior. Like father, like son, he thought smugly. Kirito lashed out with the exalted falchion and cut straight through the spikes, rendering them harmless before stabbing Grima's human form with the dark blade. This time, not only did Grima's human body cry out in agony, his dragon form roiled beneath him, and blood began to drip from a wound that had suddenly opened on his shoulder. What? The fell dragon gasped. What did you do to me? See, we figured that while Crom's falchion wouldn't be able to put you in the dirt, it'll still do the trick to block your magic. That is what this for, after all. The young man said, his jaw locked as he leaped back a few paces. But your power? The very things that you are the most proud of? What better weapon to use in order to kill you? I see, Grima growled. So your son did not bluff. That truly is my magic in Naga's blade. You literally sealed your own fate when you tried to strike down Mako back at the temple, Kirito said, his swords coming up into a ready position. Ready to die, beast? Don't get cocky, insect! Grima snapped as he straightened, his wound sealing over. I am still your superior, your destroyer, your god! You're not the first person to tell me something like that, Kirito said, eyes narrowed as he thought back to the day that he faced the power-mad Sugo Nobuyuki. Trust me, when this is over, you'll wish I left you the way that I left him. You may wield my power, but that does not make you greater than the god that created it! Grima roared angrily, readying his magic again. Don't you remember? Kirito smiled thinly. I wield the power of two gods. Blasting forward with his wings, he and Grima began to weave through the motions of the dance known as battle once more. I can't let Kirito fight this battle on his own, Robin shouted as he dispatched another Risen. Was it the 15th or the 50th he had destroyed? He just couldn't tell anymore. I need to help him finish this fight. My fight. It's all of your fight now, father. Morgan grunted as she zapped a Pegasus rider to smoke. That's how it is in the Shepherds. You should know. Our battles are not our own, Marth reminded him. The Shepherds are a family, and families bear one another's burdens. Kirito knows this, and so did his son. He spared a look at the white face of the black spirit, whose eyes had been closed by Lisa. That may be, but even family members have to step back and let their loved ones take on their challenges from time to time, Robin told them. A fact I know all too well, Corin muttered as he ran up to back-kick an axe wielder before stabbing it with his blade. I've had my fair share of family feuds, trust me. Want to know a way to deal with them? Do tell, Robin replied. Then look at me, Robin, the king of Vala commanded, his eyes flashing a brighter crimson than before. Really, look. Corin's red eyes locked onto Robin's for just a moment, and in that second, Grima's would-be victim saw something that he had never seen before, nor would ever see again. Behind Corin shimmered the image of a mighty dragon in full flight, its glory and power on full display as it hovered in the afternoon sky. Like Grima, its presence promised terrible destruction and untold despair. You? He breathed. You're not the only one to have walked this path, Robin of Elise. Corin smiled sadly. So let me tell you, while it is good that your family stands with you, the destiny that awaits is something that you must take into your own hands, as I did. I was forced to brand myself a traitor so that I could save everyone I ever loved, and because I loved them, I would not let myself waver in my journey to my goal to see our kingdoms united, whole. Don't let the love these people have for you, and you for them, keep you away from what you know will save them, Corin told him. You are the Grand Master of Elise, and the Avatar of the Fell Dragon. What does that make you in the end? BAM! Robin suddenly collapsed, startling Corin as Marth stood behind his father, Mataris' sword in hand. With some surprise, the king realized the boy had knocked out Robin with the hilt of the sword. You asked some good questions, the boy said with a wry smile as the Ignis burst to life across his body. And I have a feeling that I know the answers you would have given. However, father isn't the only fell blood around here. My whole life I've tried to deny that part of myself, unlike Morgan, who embraced what she could do with an open heart like father. Thanks to you, I know I can confront destiny without having to rely on someone else. Something Mataris believed that he could do. That moment of destiny might be coming at you, Morgan said as she stood by her brother's side with the matching aura. But I assume you'll at least let me get you there, right? Of course. Marth smiled fondly at his twin, though it was tinged with sadness. Let's do what even father could not. Why? Corin asked with a raised eyebrow. He didn't elaborate. They knew what he meant. Despite your urgings, he would have let Mother convince him otherwise, Morgan replied. He loves her too much to leave her behind. And we love them too much to let this nightmare continue in this time or any other, Marth added. We have Grima's power too. If we end him, this all ends today. You're very brave children, Corin smiled sadly. Is there anything you want me to tell him? Marth and Morgan grinned together, even as they replied in unison. Take good care of us again, this time around. Corin nodded before gripping at the pendant on his chest that shone with a bright blue light. Go, they heard him say, his voice distorted and warped. I will protect him. When the light cleared, a powerful dragon with black and silver armor stood where Corin had been a moment ago. Thank you, Morgan said with a respectful bow. Sachi! Marth called up to one of the flying fairies. I need your help! Why? Don't you die! Kirito gasped as he stood still, trying to catch his breath. Both he and Grima were covered in wounds, which the latter had stopped trying to heal several minutes ago. Still, he wasn't even close to keeling over, which Kirito was a few seconds away from doing. As I said, I am a god, the dark dragon chuckled with Robin's voice. A mortal cannot slay me. Even with my own power turned against me, one who is not fell blood cannot destroy me. It is why you fail, why your son failed. Kirito started to see red and retightened his grip on the falchions. Then it's a good thing we got two candidates for the job right here, a familiar voice called from above. Before Kirito could register what was happening, Marth and Morgan landed on either side of him from above, snatched one falchion each from him, and then felt himself being lifted up from beneath his armpits. What? He shouted, disoriented. Stay still or else I might drop you, another familiar voice said from above him. Looking up, his eyes widened as he said, Sachi? Marth asked me for a favor, she told him. Sorry, but he and Morgan have to finish this fight. No, Kirito said angrily as he flexed his wings and wrested himself from her grip. That monster killed Mako. I have to avenge him. It's what he asked me to do. You physically can't kill him, Daddy, said Yui as she, Asuna, and the Kono sisters zipped up to be beside them, all gaping for breath. Strangely, down below them, the risen activity seemed to be slowing down. What are you talking about? Kirito demanded. I have the blood in my body that I need to use the Exalted Falchion, and the darkness needed to kill Grima. I could still do this. No, you can't, Sachi told him, her voice stronger than he ever remembered it being. Only someone with Grima's blood and magic flowing in their veins can use the sword properly, just like the Exalted Falchion. In this case, that's Robin, Noir, Morgan, and Marth. Wait, where is Noir? Kirito asked as he scanned the area down below them. Keeping an eye on Mataris' body. And Robin. Marth knocked him out, by the way. Alongside Corin. Aiko said as she pointed out the girl in the silver dragon beside her. But he's a Manakee? Kirito gaped. Not exactly, but that's not important right now, Sachi said. They don't want their father to die, but they know that he would try to take the sure win by sacrificing himself if he got the chance. They plan to use Grima's magic with their blood driving the final blow to end this, now and forever. But I'm supposed to avenge Mako, Kirito said furiously. I'm his... Mako is waiting for us back in Illistal, Asuna told her husband firmly, yet kindly. Mataris may have wanted you to avenge him, but in the end what he really wanted was for his friends to be able to rest in peace. We can't give him that closure, but those two can. They'll defeat Grima. I know they will, Yui said assuredly. I have faith in them both. Well, 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 Grima said with a warm smile, his voice unamplified by his draconic magic. What a surprise. Seeing you two is rather a pleasant development. If you think we're going to take it easy on you just because you wear our father's face, think again, Morgan growled. If anything, we're going to make sure you suffer because you used that body to destroy the lives of everyone he ever cared about. Morgan. Grima chuckled gently. Always the spunky one. I did so admire that spark of ingenuity and flair you carried in your heart. Stop trying to cozy up to us, Marth snapped, raising the fell falchion into a ready position. Somewhere in the back of his head, he marveled at the irony that he would be carrying Grima's power, while Morgan carried Naga's, especially since he had always idolized his mother, and she their father. And Marth, so ironically named after the famed hero king. Grima grinned as though they were discussing the memory of a family holiday. I must say, your skills and rigid discipline have been sorely missed as well. What? The twins asked together. I suppose, strictly speaking, I can't take the credit for your latent abilities blossoming so well in the future, Grima said, mildly abashed. After all, it was the me that had begotten you from another time entirely, but when you consume one's essence, and it's so similar to your own, things sort of meld together. You killed our father? Morgan asked, trembling slightly despite her resolve. I did, Grima nodded. This is actually the 4th timeline I've been to. So many different possibilities exist, it's astounding. In our future, Marth growled. The one we cannot remember. What happened? Did you make us this way? Grima laughed, genuinely amused. No, that was not me. You could pass thanks for your memory loss onto your mother. Stop speaking in riddles and answer us plainly, lizard! Morgan spat. What is all of this about? Why haven't you tried to kill us yet? Especially since it was clear that Valadar wanted us dead, Marth added. Yes, I was rather put out with him about that, Grima hissed. I made him suffer for it repeatedly, if it's any consolation to you. Do we look like the kind of people that enjoy your sick games? Morgan sputtered. Don't you, though? Grima said with a sly smile. Don't you love to arrange the pieces on a chessboard, my dear? Use them however you see fit? That's not... Morgan faltered again. You're dodging our questions, Marth said angrily. Answer them, now! Grima mused, a slight grin hidden by his hand. Very well. You want to know about what happened to you before you lost your memory and came here? It's all rather simple, really. Lowering his hand to show a smile, Grima said, Where you two come from, your father had accepted my power, just as he did in mine. However, travel between worlds was... turbulent. I first ended up back in your time, where I encountered your time's Grima fairly quickly. We decided to work together until I could make it back here, and I must say, it's nice to have a partner whose goals align so closely with my own. Regardless, I soon realized that he had two things that I never did. The fell dragon's smile could only be described as twisted as the twins took a couple of steps back in horror. Oh yes, that's right. His two most loyal and cunning servants were not Valadar and Aversa. Oh no. It was you. Together, the three of you ground up the rebellion to dust and blew them away in the wind. No, Morgan said, her face pale. We couldn't. We would never, Marth said, his voice also faltering. Oh, but you did, and you were marvelous at it, Grima chuckled. Ironically, it's what led me to the idea that if I could assimilate myself, I could have everything that I had both in that world and in my own. Unfortunately, I became at odds with myself and was forced to dispatch him before I could make proper use of his powers. I'm sensing something else did not go according to your designs, Marth said, though his face was still pale like his sister's. You presume correctly, Marth. Grima nodded. It seems that your father, whatever was left of him, used the attachment my other self felt for you as a means to deprive us both of our victory. He sent you both on a mission to kill your mother, knowing full well that she had a plan for if you ever came within reach of her falchion. I killed him after that. She was gonna kill us? Morgan asked, fighting back tears. Of course not, Grima said with a roll of his eyes. No, she trained herself to use the Solaris spell in the time that she had and rid you of my other self's influence. A byproduct of her inability to completely master the spell, apparently, is that you retained almost no memories of your lives, save for scattered memories of her and your father. Unfortunately for her, she never really had a talent for magic, so she perished after using the spell, Grima shrugged. Then that wench Naga spirited you away here, and the rest is history. You're so full of it, Marth snapped, his body quaking with rage. Now we're going to add lies to the list of reasons to kill you. Grima grinned crookedly. It would not anger you so much if it wasn't true, would it, son? He's telling the truth, Marth, Morgan said somberly, her sword completely lowered, leaving her all but defenseless. I know he is. Morgan, he's the fell dragon, Marth hissed sharply. Lies and deceit are what he eats for breakfast. Actually, I eat people, preferably the ones that are on the brink of death, Grima interjected mildly. You, be quiet, Marth said ominously, his Ignis aura flashing brighter. Turning back to Morgan, he said, "He wants to get inside our heads, make us into what he's been talking about. Don't let him." "He doesn't have to," Morgan said, tears falling down her cheeks. "I already know, because... Because what?" Marth asked, alarm pulsing through him. "Did you remember something?" "Yeah," Morgan squeaked out. "I can see it. We went to kill Mom, and she was waiting. Told us that she loved us, swung her sword while holding Naga's tome. I could see it all now." Looking up at him with red eyes, she cried, "Don't you get it? That's how I knew how to save Antiversa!" She collapsed, falchion falling at her side. "You're doing this to her," Marth snapped as he turned back to face a smirking Grima. "Making her see these things. Get out of her head!" "Come now, why would I need to show her what's already there?" the man-beast chuckled. "Besides, if I could do it to her, why wouldn't I do it to you, too?" "Because you're a sick, twisted, demented demon!" Marth roared angrily. "You'll do anything to see people consumed by your darkness!" "Not if they already have a darkness that's eating away at them," Grima replied. "There's something satisfying about watching people destroy themselves. It's not that it's easier, it's that it's different for each one that I don't have a hand in." Walking over, eyes glowing red, Grima extended a hand to the girl, adding, "But if you embrace the darkness the way that I do, you can master it instead of being its victim." "Gotcha," Morgan said. Before Grima could react, Morgan snatched up falchion and rammed the holy blade through his foot, nailing Grima's human foot to his draconian backside. "That's for using Dad to kill everyone." The bellow that both man and dragon let loose was tremendous, setting everyone's ears ringing. "You witch!" he screamed as he backhanded Morgan, sending her flying away from him. Marth ducked the blow aimed at him as he smiled with all the charm of a snake as he said, "You should have seen that coming, Grima. Like father, like daughter, huh?" You couldn't have planned that!" Grima roared as he tried to free his foot, but the blade was stuck fast. "Why? 'Cause you didn't think of it first?" Marth asked as he raised the fell falchion above his head. "Come now, surely you've heard of crocodile tears." "Her tears, your rage, they were real!" Grima snarled. "Yes, they are, which is the real trick," Marth said, keeping up his cold smile. "Even you, for all your great intellect, cannot see the intent behind an emotion if that's all you're expecting to see. It's what you always seem to fail to realize, Grima. Emotions aren't the only thing that drives us as people." He swung the fell blade, severing Grima's head from his body. "We're so much more than that." Grima's death roar pierced the air, and the dragon body on which they were standing began to crumble. Marth fell to his knees, but he felt someone grabbing him up from behind and holding him steady. "Hold on," he heard Sachi shout. "This is gonna be a rough landing." "Morgan!" he shouted, trying to find his sister, even as the massive dragon began to plummet down toward the earth in pieces. "Where is she?" "Peace, young one." He heard it in his mind as the wind screamed in his ears. "She will be safe. All of you will." "The hell happened?" Kirito asked as he floated up on his wings away from the dying monster. "They did it!" Yui exclaimed. "Marth and Morgan took down Grima!" "Then does that mean..." Asuna asked with wide eyes. "From the way that thing is falling apart, I think it's safe to say he ain't coming back." Yuki grinned. "Is that it?" Crom asked as he felt the monster beneath him falling away. "Did they..." "The fell dragon is no more, though through circumstances I had not foreseen," Naga said, her voice echoing in his mind. "Things are about to change, Prince, in more ways than even I could have imagined." Can we put all this on pause till say we figure out how to land?" Lisa shrieked. "Fear not. I shall keep you safe, heroes of this time." Naga chuckled lightly. "Looks like the Dragon Slayers did it again!" Elise whooped excitedly. "High fives for everyone!" "We might want to hold on to that," Ryoma muttered almost to himself. Looking over at Korin, he asked, "So how do we land without breaking to pieces ourselves?" "I'll let you know as soon as I figure that out," the blonde man muttered, back in his human form, trying to keep Robin's unconscious body from flying up in the air. "Well, we're dead," Leo said dryly. "You take us on the nicest vacations, brother." "Hey, it was your retainers that..." "Peace, Silent Blood." Naga chided him gently. "All will be well." "Silent?" Korin's eyes widened. "You knew about that?" "A subject to be discussed at another time," Naga replied as a massive light engulfed the group. "For now, I must get all of you to safety." "I never did like rescue magic." Xander blanched just before the light vanished from the skies. The pieces of the fell dragon crashed into the ocean a few moments later. Fortunately, the only places close enough to be affected by the massive waves that sprung from the water were uninhabited islands. One could still see the sight from the Feroxy beaches, where the united forces of the shepherds and the Valites found themselves once Naga had safely transported them all. "Can we take a vacation now?" Morgan groaned. "For like 10 years." "I think we've earned at least that much," Crom agreed with a grunt as he got to his feet. Looking around, he scanned for anyone that might be missing. "Head count," he ordered. "I got Robin here," Lucina called back as she knelt beside her husband, who was still out cold. "He's not waking up, though." "No way." Kirito breathed as he raced over. "Is he—" "He's breathing, but I think Marth hit him harder than he should have." Corin grinned slightly as he sat up on the sand. "You did what to your father?" Lucina demanded. Apparently, in all the chaos, she had been made unaware of how exactly Robin ended up being wounded. "Hey, he is alive, and everyone is okay," Morgan objected. "We're all alive, right, guys?" "Not everyone," Klein said sadly as he knelt beside a body. Looking up at Kirito and Asuna, he added, "I saw him take the hit, guys. It was pretty stupid, but your son had more guts than a lot of us ever will." "Yeah." Kirito nodded dumbly. "Will you be okay?" Crom grunted as he limped over to the couple, a wound in his leg slowing him down. "I don't know, Crom," Asuna said dully. "I just don't know." "I know that we didn't always see eye to eye," the prince said after a moment. "But I assure you, I will make sure that his name is remembered with honor." "Thanks, Crom." Kirito nodded as he dashed at his eyes. "You know, it's funny. I hated him for the longest time. I thought I saw the worst parts of myself in him, and it sickened me. Now that he's gone," he faltered, unable to continue. "He always wanted to be his own man, so he tried to make himself as different from you as he possibly could," Yui said as she held her father's hand tenderly. "But in the moments when he was strongest, I saw you and Mommy in him. He didn't have your kindness or willingness to open his heart to others, but he definitely had your strength and drive to win." "He wasn't the perfect son," Asuna said as she gripped Kirito's other hand between her own. "But he was ours." "Yeah," Kirito nodded somberly. "In our time," Severa said as she and Noir approached the fallen warrior, "Mataris was the perfect fighting machine, pitiless and unmatched in skill. Some, myself among them, thought that he must not even be human anymore because of how cold he acted toward all of us. But at the end of the day, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. So, yeah." "He didn't fight to save lives, but he did save ours." Noir nodded quietly. "We'll always remember your son, Kitagaius, even if no one else does." "He will be remembered for many ages as the spirit that shadowed the mighty shepherds, lending them his might from the night skies when only the chosen could see him," said Naga, startling the group as her human form manifested before them, shimmering like sunlight on water. She smiled as she added, "The chroniclers may gloss over some of the details about him, but the idea of him is what will matter." "Naga," Crom said with a bow, prompting everyone else that was able to do so follow suit. "Is the threat ended? Is Grima gone?" "He is indeed," Naga beamed. "At long last his darkness is ended, and it seems that his vessel no longer carries the mark of the fell blood." "Huh?" Crom wondered as he looked back at his friend, who was beginning to stir. "Examine his hand, and you will find no trace of Grima there," Naga instructed. "As for his heirs, their eyes are now free of his vile mark as well." Morgan and Marth both frowned for a split second before turning to examine each other's eyes. When all three were found free of the demonic markings, Lucina looked up at the astral projection and asked, "Why did Robin not perish, Lady Naga? Not that I'm complaining, of course." Naga chuckled gently as she said, "The real reason Matar shall be remembered is because it was his plan that made the demise of Grima possible. Though he could not deliver the final blow himself, he did manage to use his own body as a vessel for Grima's magic until it could be used to create a fell falchion. A weapon infused with his power, and his alone, it slew Grima without any negative effects to his counterpart in this time." "I thought that because I struck down Grima while using Ignis," Marth murmured. "The power that slew Grima was not your own, though Ignis was needed to properly channel it," Naga explained. "You are safe, exalted heir." "Ah, that's a relief," Morgan sighed. "I did not want to become an only child." "I'm still here," Nor offered mildly, which earned her a surprise hug from Marth of all people. "And I'm glad that you are," he smiled. "We both are, right, Morgan?" "Always," the blue-haired girl laughed as she turned to add a hug of her own. "There is one matter left to attend to. Naga said, and from the tone of her voice, many of the shepherds doubted that they would like it. What is it? Crom asked as Sumiya stood up by his side to grip his hand tightly. It concerns the warriors from the lands of Alfheim and Aincrad, Naga told them, earning her starts of surprise from the mentioned fighters. Us? Lisbeth asked aloud. What did we do wrong? Sachi asked nervously. Nothing, sweet child, Naga said reassuringly. No, the only wrong here has been committed by me. I did not ask many of you for your help, yet you gave it willingly nonetheless. I called you here out of desperation, something that I now regret deeply. I must rectify my mistakes. What does she mean by that? Agiel asked to no one in particular. It means, Andrew Gilbert, that I will now give you a choice that I denied many of you before, Naga chided him. This offer cannot be extended to those of you that died in your home world, but I will offer other compensation as best as I can. What are you talking about? Klein asked with a frown. Would you just tell us what's going on? Cordelia smacked him on the back of the head for being rude, which seemed to amuse the divine dragon. As you wish, Tsuboi Ryotaro, Naga said peacefully. My offer, then, is this. I can send you home, if you should so wish, or you may remain here, where I will see to it personally that your lives are long and spent in good health. The former SAO and ALO players all froze as she finished speaking. This is it, Kazuto Kitagaya thought with wide eyes. We can go home.